And welcome into a Thursday edition of the Backstage Pass, always live and in living color, and always happy NFL draft day to everybody out there. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock right now with the number one pick. Will it be Trayvon Walker, the defensive end out of the University of Georgia? Number two is the Detroit Lions. And number three, the hometown, not that they're my favorite team anymore, but the Houston Texans are on the clock. We'll see who they take tonight, of course. I got some friends in Vegas for the draft, and definitely just a lot of people going to tune in tonight, so definitely looking forward to that. 7 o'clock on ESPN and, of course, ABC, and, of course, all the different apps out there you can follow the 2022 NFL Draft. Always good to be back here, presented by our good friends over at Hank Jr. Productions and, of course, our good friends at MitchMacs.com. And I tell you what's great about this show is you get stuff crossing your desk all the time. And when it's great music, you know you got to put it on, even if it's north of the border from Ontario. Pleased to welcome in country music artist from Canada as Kris Barclay is going to join us here on the show today, kicking off the Thursday edition and, of course, the NFL Draft Day. Kris, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you being a part of it, brother, no doubt. And definitely, hey, I want to get started right here because we were talking a little bit beforehand. You growing up playing hockey, and what I love is the best of both worlds here, getting sports and music on the same train, the same path. We're all headed in the same direction. But tell me about this because, I mean, growing up playing a guitar at 13, singing your favorite country songs, things like that, but also bringing the guitar on the hockey road trips. I read that earlier today. And, like, you couldn't get on the bus without the guitar being a part of this, too, at the same time. Tell me how it got started.
Yeah, so just as downtime from, so I played all kinds of sports as a kid, and I'm sure we'll touch on some of those in this discussion. But like from downtime from playing high level sports, it was my thing to wind down and chill and just kind of relax after those big events and stuff like that. And I started at 13, taught myself how to play, and just tried to make my hands seem to do what I heard. The people who I like to listen to, I just try to make it sound like the same thing. That's how I learned how to play. Just listen to songs on repeat. And then it just got to a point where I just started trying to sing along and hum along. And I didn't know if it was good or bad. And eventually I played for a couple of guys on the team. And the next thing you know, we had a 4-hour bus road trip ahead of us, and they're like, "Hey man, look, we love you, but you ain't coming unless the guitar comes with you." And so we'd be in the back of the bus just playing songs the whole way. But if we lost, I wasn't allowed to play the guitar on the way home. But if we won, the coach just said, "Let's go," and we played guitar the whole way home too. So it was a good thing to kind of bond the team together, and it was kind of like glue for the team a little bit, and it was good practice for me.
I love that too. Now tell me about this because they're so integrated together, being sports and music. And tonight you notice you've got guys, and I've talked to several guys here who've been former athletes who have turned from pro football to musicians, one of them being Kyle Turley. We talked to here on the program, the former New Orleans Saints tight end, offensive lineman. He did a little bit of both out there too as well, but just a great player in his own right, and guys who go from pro sports to the music career. What did you learn in sports kind of take with you that helped you become a better musician?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, the names you mentioned, like even if you look at just country music alone, is like Sam Hunt was a college football player. I'm pretty sure Chase Rice as well. Jake Owen was a almost professional golfer. So there's a ton of guys that and girls that played sports and have converted. I think a couple of the biggest things is the discipline that it takes to be a professional. There's just a huge difference I found between like a hobbyist, someone that does it for fun, and someone that does it for real. And it's like I think it was a quote. I think it was a Kobe quote. He was saying where like he could get outballed any day of the week on the streets of LA, but the difference is that they choose when they feel like and don't feel like playing basketball, and Kobe feels like playing basketball every day. So there's days where you wake up and as a singer, like maybe your voice doesn't feel great that day, but you still got to wake up and go through it. Whereas if you don't have that discipline, then maybe I'm going to take a few days off, or maybe I don't feel like doing it today or whatever. It's kind of like when you're a professional, it's just what you do, and the discipline of playing sports, taking care of your body, sticking to like a routine, sticking to like and then also too, dealing with pressure too, right? That emotional moment playing sports where you got to handle it, deal with the noise of the crowd, deal with the other team kind of trying to get in your head, and that you got to settle down and do your job, right? So, people buy concert tickets. They don't necessarily care if you had a good or bad day that day, right?
That's true.
They want to come see a show. It's the same when you buy tickets to go see your favorite team, right? You want to go see the Stars play and you want to see them perform. So you buy that ticket, you spend all that money to go to the games and you want to see a show. And that's, so it's kind of the same business, even though it's sports, it's still a form of entertainment for people, right? So it's handling the emotional moments as well and just buckling down and doing your job.
No doubt. And I tell you, I love this story because you were talking about this before the show. We kind of backstage a little bit. Family just trying to get you to book shows. And I want to say, did I read somewhere some persistence? The friend finally convinced you to get to that direction. Was there a little thing called a wager involved?
Yeah,
a bet?
man, I know. I'm gonna get into that.
We do our homework here, Kris. We do our homework.
Yeah, what happened was, so again, it was like I had intense borderline stage fright of playing live music and just playing for people. It was just something that I never really considered that that's what I was. I was an athlete my whole life. So I never considered myself a performer, an entertainer, definitely not a musician or a singer, that's for sure. So when I first was trying to get started playing and stuff, and my parents, but your parents are always gonna be like, "You're so good," like, especially your mom, right? She's gonna ham you up, she's gonna big you up for sure, right? But I was kind of like, you kind of have to say that, So, but then it got to a point where some of my friends, when I'd play that for like a campfire, or something like that, and they'd be saying the same thing, and I'd kind of like, is there something to this? But I was too scared to really go for it, and so we're Leaf fans out here. I'm from just outside of Toronto, and
right.
who got a shot this year? Let's just say
they have a shot, brother. The Jays have a shot.
Year, right?
Yes, they do. I just saw them in Houston last weekend, and it was that Jeremy Pena. Not that Jays fans want the imprint from completing the sweep, but for us as the Stros, I mean, we just saw him there on Sunday. He was sitting right behind home plate. Fastball comes right in. He drops the hands, get the barrel to it, and I mean, straightaway center. 425 feet, which the Jays could have swept us right there, but we'll take the one win if we can get it. But this weekend, Stros Jays at Rogers Center in Toronto, so it's going to be Toronto's my pick to go to the World Series for the American League.
They're set up. They're set up.
Good.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so we made a bet on a game, and if I lost the bet, I had to go play and play at a gig, and if I won the bet, this particular buddy was never allowed to ask me to play a live show again ever, and the conversation's dead in the water, right? And so obviously I lost the bet and I had to play the show. So true to my word, I went terrified, nervous, but had a blast. As soon as I got up there, saw everybody partying, having a good time, singing songs, and buying beers for each other and stuff. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, man, this is for me. This is cool. And they're like, hey man, you could drink while you play. You can have a beer while you play. I'm like, you could drink on the job here? This is the best gig ever, man. I'm in. Let's go. Right? I'm thinking, as an athletic career, you got a workout regimen, a curfew, nutrition plan, everything else. And then you got music. You can drink on the job. You can hang out with your friends. You don't have to have the meal regimen. It's perfect, man. I'm in. Let's go.
It's good stuff right there. Hey, tell me about this, because you mentioned, like I said, had you won that, you may never have gotten out there to book the gig, and of course, getting in front of the audience and understanding what gigs are like and performing in front of a crowd. But you won this contest at the Boots and Hearts Music Festival. That opened some doors, and you talked about the record deals and the debut single, but country music was born from you. Talk about how that contest really opened some doors for you.
Yeah, man. So here we have, I'm not sure how many of your listeners may have heard or not heard of Boots and Hearts, but it's huge, like 40,000 people. It's for real. They do it real well. And they have this contest every year, and it's like an emerging artist showcase. You can apply for it. And I got in as a wild card. They secure, out of 8 spots, they secure 7, and then there's the 8th spot, that's the wild card, and it goes out to a fan vote, and there's 3 artists competing for that last wild card vote, and that was me, skin of my teeth, just kind of sliding in, and so I got started, like I said, playing live music. I didn't get started writing my own songs. I didn't get started in the studio. I got started playing live for fans who love to come watch live music. So to get voted into this showcase in the first place by the fans of country music, people listening to the music and stuff, that meant the most to me, because I'm doing this for the love of playing for those people, right? So that was huge for me. To get in there at all was amazing. So we got in, and then I remember going to this festival as a fan for years. And I remember you're looking out, they set the festivals up very similar year to year. And I'm looking out and counting the light poles when I got up there. And I remember years prior leaning on that same light pole, thinking, man, I got to find a way to get up there one day. And I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I got to find a way to do it, man. And so it was kind of a full circle, kind of surreal moment. I actually almost forgot the lyrics of the song I was playing, because I found the light pole I was leaning up against, right? but that was just a really cool experience. Learned a lot, how to be a professional, how to be an artist. Got to work with some really great people, and fortunately, through the process, after being successful and winning the whole thing, got to work with Warner Music up in Canada, and put up my debut single, which is to date still one of my most popular songs. So.
Pretty cool. That Love You Like That. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But More Than Whiskey just came out April the 1st. So I wanted to mention that at the top of the show from Kris Barclay out there. And definitely check out the website, krisbarclay.com, for more information, merchandise, and all the tour dates and shows out there. So More Than Whiskey is across all the digital platforms. You guys haven't heard it. Takes me back to that 90s feel of country when I DJ'd radio back then. I always had music cross my desk, and I would go, man, that's legit top 10 right there. It's a legit top 5. I mean, that's how good this song is. And when it crossed my desk, I said, we're definitely putting KB on the show, no doubt. Hey, let's have you play one. Let's have you grab that guitar, and let's get after it, brother. And a good place to start is that single, right?
Well, I was just gonna say you couldn't have introed it. You could have introed it much better than that, dude. So yeah, we'll start right there.
It's all good, brother. Here it is.
She be sitting at the front table, throwing back that black label, dressed up to the nines. She's the kind you can't walk by, a girl next door with a wild side. She'll keep you there closing time. And if you want to party, she's a party all nighter. But let me tell you, there's more than what meets the eye. It's more than whiskey she's chasing. She give anything to fall in love right now. It's just the part that she's playing. To see how long you're gonna stick around. If she gives you a shot, it's not just a shot you're taking. It's more than whiskey she's chasing. But she was selling good times, man, I bought. Looking back, that's where I lost it. Thinking that was all it was. She was dropping hints that her heart was jaded. I know I could have changed it if I'd only stepped up. Yeah, she really put on one hell of a show. Man, I wish I would've known. It's more than whiskey she's chasing. She give anything to fall in love right now. It's just the part that she's playing. To see how long you're gonna stick around. If she gives you a shot, it's not just a shot you're taking. It's more than whiskey you're chasing. Oh, won't take it from me. You don't want her to be that shot that you took to get wasted. It's more than whiskey she's chasing. She give anything to fall in love right now. It's just the part that she's playing. See how long you're gonna stick around. If she gives you a shot, better give it all you got. Cause it's not just a shot you're taking. It's more than whiskey she's chasing. Oh, it's more than whiskey she's chasing.
More Than Whiskey. Kris Barclay back here on the Backstage Pass, again, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And of course, what's great about that, it's NFL draft night. So the Jags are on the clock. Looking forward to that number one pick. And of course, the rest just filters out as the GMs and coaches go through their draft boards, find the best available players. So definitely we'll have some write-up of that tomorrow at some point on the pages. So be sure and definitely check that out if you're out there. Again, Kris Barclay back here on the show, presented by MitchMacs.com, the official merchandise provider of the show. So check those guys out and go grab some of that men's, ladies apparel And coffee mugs are even on the website now. So if you enjoy drinking coffee, feel free to grab that off MitchMacs.com and our good friends at Hank Jr. Productions. So let's talk about this before I take a quick break. But More Than Whiskey comes out April 1st. Huge response, man, of fans that flock to this song, kind of like your debut single, Loved You Like That. So tell me how this one came together. And this had to be fun to write and to record and the whole 9 yards, right?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I actually didn't write this one.
Okay,
it kind of fell into my lap. It was this is the first song I've recorded that I didn't write, and it was actually written by Megan Patrick, Aaron Goodman, and Skip Black. They wrote it in Nashville, and I had a bunch of songs on the table looking to cut the next single, and I happened to text Megan, and I just said, hey, if you got anything you think might kind of fit what I'm doing, feel free to fire away, and we'll see if something fits. And we already had some options that we were about to cut, and she just sent this thing over and said, hey, this feels like you could have done this. This feels like it's up your alley. And sure enough, I played it just one or two times in my truck, and it was like I fell in love with that chorus. And so I sent it to my management and my team and my producer and stuff, and then I played it for like my family and stuff, and they thought that I wrote it. Actually, they said who sang the demo, because this sounds just like you would have wrote this and that. And I said, well, I never did write this, and it was, so that right there was kind of the I guess like the feeling of like we should do this, because people are saying it sounds like it's something that I would have written, so it fit my vibe and it fit what I was doing at the time, obviously currently, and so we just kind of went with it, and it feels real good. So I can't take too much credit for that part of it, and the players that played on the recording, I mean, they did a great job as well. So I basically just showed up and sang the thing. So, the people working the song did a great job, and the vision with my producer working together on that, just a really great process. The song just kind of flows real natural. So yeah, it was great.
Love that too, how songs do come together. And we come back from this break, I'm going to talk about a few regulars that have been here on the program, some amazing talent that continues to come out of Canada, some amazing talent that's been in Canada for a long time. Some people you've opened for, like Brett Kissel, who last week we just had on this very show.
You did.
Talking about, sure had Brett on last week, his very show, talking about his latest single he did with the group called 98 Degrees, a song called Ain't the Same, which is very good out there across the platforms too. So thanks for Brett for coming on multiple times. And of course, a good friend of me and a good friend of the program is Gord Bamford. I've loved him. So you've opened for a lot of cool people. I got a chance to talk about that and then some. We'll take a quick break for MitchMacs.com, the official merchandise provider, also to as well pay some bills. Come right back with Kris Barclay. And again, the single More Than Whiskey is out there across all the digital platforms. Make sure you guys check that out. So right now, a word from MitchMacs. Hang tight. We're coming back. Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And, of course, you can catch all the interviews at that very website as soon as we're done here, of course, across all the different socials out there. So be sure and check them out if you miss them live. That's a good thing about the archive version is you can go back and check the artist pages. And, of course, at that very website, the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Again, that's where the Backstage Pass episodes go up there, too, as well. Tomorrow, she won American Idol on season 16. Looking forward to talking to her. Maddie Poppy is coming on the show coming up tomorrow. Looking forward to that conversation, and we'll be out tomorrow night hanging out with Flatland Calvary at the Port Neches River Fest down here in our home state, right here in Texas. No doubt looking forward to hanging out with Cleto and the guys from Flatland Calvary. Back here with Kris Barclay on the show. The new single, More Than Whiskey, is across all the platforms for you guys to check out for your listening pleasure. We haven't got to half of the cool things you've done in your 9-10 years of doing this, man. You've paid your dues to get to the top. And one of the cool things I love is opening for those great artists I talked about there before the break, the Gordon Bamfords, the Brett Kissels, the Road Hammers. You've been on the road for a while, man, doing this. What is that experience like, taking away from the people that have reached the top of their game, and you're still, definitely finding the path to get there? But man, opening shows for names like that, man, that is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it really is. It's an honor, and it's something I take lightly for sure. I want to. They're trusting me with getting their party started for them, right? So it's a big job to do, and I'm well aware. I'm well aware of the task, and it's so much fun too to see the level. You're able to associate yourself with people who are at the level you're trying to get to, so you can kind of see a little bit of how they do it. You can kind of take little pieces of, I like how so and so did this. Or I like the pregame routine that so-and-so did. That was cool. I want to bring that into our group. And I had a coach when I played hockey at one time, just say, listen, if you want to play in the NHL, start acting like NHL players, start doing what they do. Right. So when you're able to be hanging out and you make friends with some of these guys and you're able to start picking things up and habits that they do, that again, it comes back to being an athlete. It's the good habits, it's the discipline, it's the work ethic. And you see how hard they work, and you see, what they do and how they prepare, and you start to get a kind of a cross section of what it's going to take. And you become friends with them. And honestly, it becomes, country music is a small community as much as it's a big one. And a lot of us are friends, and we all get along. And so it's like, you can't wait to get out and do a show again with Brett or with Gord or whoever else. And because it's just fun to catch up and have a beer, shoot the shit. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's exactly right. We just did a few of those in Nashville covering that CRS event we were up there for too. And actually ran into, speaking of a good friend of yours, ran into one of my favorite artists, Megan Patrick, out there, Warner Music Canada. Got to take a picture with her. She's killer. And I've yet to get her on this show, Kris, but we're going to work on that. We're going to do it.
I'll message her after this. I'll say, Brandon's for real. You gotta go chat with him. He's awesome. Yeah,
she went to Bar Lines. We took some pictures. It was her and a couple other musicians, and Riser Music Group was there too, meeting some fantastic.
I just toured with her a couple of weeks ago.
We haven't crossed paths yet, but we will. Outside of the picture, we're going to cross paths. I'm going to tell her about the fantastic Kris Barclay, the artist that I got to talk to here on the program. So thank you for being able to do that too. Hey, tell me about Love You Like That, because that was the cool thing from the music contest, I should say, backing up to that, which was really, really amazing. You got to do that. And we talked about opening so many doors out there. For you, what I loved about it too is the recording deal with Warner Music Canada, and then a song like Love You Like That comes out, 1.5 million streams to date. Holy crap, and probably even more now. And just opening, it's about the one that got away. I got a chance to listen to it many, many weeks ago. What was that single like to impact the Kris Barclay taking off to the moon? And then you look back, and you're like, man, it just took one special song to open the door, right?
Yeah, I've been writing a lot of songs for a lot of years. And when we were in that contest, I had that song written at that time. And I was backstage, and I don't really get too overly nervous. I get like anxious and a little bit maybe jittery and hyper before shows, but I don't necessarily get like, I can't do this nervous. You know what I mean? Like certain, like, and at that time when we went to go on that final day on that showcase at Boots and Hearts, it was, I was for real nervous, and I said to the guys, like the band backstage, I said, which song? You only get to play one song. You pop up, you play one song, and you're done. So it's like, you better nail it. And the guy said, man, there's that song that you wrote that, that Loved You Like That song. Man, that's a fun one for us to play. We love to play that. And we think the lyrics are cool, man. Let's do that one. And so the band trusted it from day one. So we went out and we played it. And that was kind of ultimately what won us the whole showcase. And then when we got all the songs on the cutting board to record that single, that song just kept coming to the top. And everybody who was assigned to the project, it was like, here's 10 songs, rate them 1 to 10. And almost everybody had that song at the top. So, the band trusted it. The team behind the scenes trusted it. So we went with it, and it seemed to be very relatable. People kind of could kind of, whether you're the one that got away or you're the one that lost somebody, you can kind of relate to it in some sense. And especially with social media today, kind of scrolling through and you're seeing someone maybe that, you let get away and they're real happy with somebody else. That's kind of where the song came from. You see like kind of old pictures. And that's kind of it, man. And, it felt real good to kind of connect with people through the music when they kind of say, hey man, I feel this, you know what I mean? I went through this, and your song helped me with that. And, that was kind of really cool for me.
Love it, man. It's just, again, a great song out there. So definitely check it out across all the platforms out there. Now tell me about this story before we play our next song. The Rising Star category for Country Music Awards of Ontario. Again, success breeding success there too. And I mean, working on your music and just continue to put out fresh, cool stuff like 360, which is kind of that uplifting, that fun love song that I liked so much out there. Tell me about that contest. And of course, getting in that category for the Country Music Awards of Ontario Rising Star category, and then leading to 360 and so much success coming out for you, man, that just continues.
Yeah. I mean, that was such a cool thing because, that nomination came before I released the debut single. So I was nominated as an artist, but never having ever released a song, which was really cool. Most times as an artist, you got to release a whole bunch of material and then you'll get nominated for something, hopefully, and so to be recognized as an artist, but before I'd ever released, at that point, I was still, playing Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy in bars, man. You know what I mean? So to get recognized as an artist prior to having released music, that was such a huge experience for me, and a validation. There was validation in that wild card vote that we talked about from fans, and then there was also the validation from the industry getting nominated for that award. So there's just a sense of, hey, I'm probably doing something right here that I'm kind of meant to do. That was just a really cool experience. And then with 360, that song was just so much. That song was fun to write. We were sitting in a room. It was three of us in the room, and we just kind of just started joking around and laughing and carrying on. And the next thing you know, that song popped up, and that song just about, loving all of somebody and not just certain parts, just all the way around, top to the ground, man, just kind of. And so it's fun, man. I have a great time performing it. I had a great time writing it. It's just it's a fun, good feeling song.
Love it too. We're going to talk about the anthem that I love called Right Here, which is to definitely just be proud of where you come from. And I really just enjoy that song because of the small town feel of where I come from too, right here, no doubt, here in Texas. And like you said, Alberta is the kind of the Texas side over there, and Alberta is the Texas grasslands, and of course the prairie farms and all that good stuff too. So I love Canada just as much as I love the US, no doubt about it too. So hey, let's have you play another one here on the Backstage Pass, again presented by MitchMacs.com, and of course our good friends over at Hank Jr. Productions. Pick any one of those songs, man. I say dealer's choice.
You know what? No, you make the choice, man. Which one do you want me to play?
Oh man, let's go. You know what though? That hometown feel. Let's go with Right Here because it's just got that. We're gonna talk about it next anyway. So there we go.
Awesome.
It's a good segue.
It's about being proud of where you come from, man. This song's called Right Here.
Yep.
Right here, we were just kids, but man, we were living it. Sneaking into this bar right here, just to turn it up live. Man, we got into it. We're the home team crowd right here. Some of us got out, but they come back around. We're damn proud of this town right here. Some people got it wrong out there, but we got it all right here. It's Friday and it's time to turn it on right here. You know that I'm always gonna stay right here. What can I say? From what's on my plate to my Chevrolet, yeah, we got it made right here. Yeah, some things ain't never gonna change right here. One day I'll have a family I could raise right here. Yeah, but for tonight we're gonna raise one up to the years. We got it all right here. Right here. It is what it is. You blink and you miss it, but I wouldn't trade this view right here. Dreams come true right here, cause we got it all right here. It's Friday and it's time to turn it on right here. You know that I'm always gonna stay right here. What can I say? From what's on my plate to my Chevrolet, yeah, we got it made right here. Yeah, some things ain't never gonna change right here. One day I'll have a family I could raise right here. Yeah, before tonight we're gonna raise one up to the years. We got it all right here. One day, when I slip away, let the headstone say, man, he was proud of this town right here. Then put me in the ground right here. Cause I've got it all right here. It's Friday and it's time to turn it on right here. You know that I'm always gonna stay right here. What can I say? From what's on my plate to my Chevrolet, yeah, we got it all right here. It's Friday and it's time to turn it on right here. You know that I'm always gonna stay right here. What can I say? From what's on my plate to my Chevrolet, yeah, we got it made right here. Yes, some things ain't never gonna change right here. One day I'll have a family I can raise right here. Yeah, before the night we're gonna raise one up to the years. We got it all right here.
Drink a beer to that, no doubt, no matter what brand it is right there. It's a small town, appreciating where you come from. It's Kris Barclay back here on the Backstage Pass, again, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. It's NFL draft night. The Jags are on the clock. Start at 7 o'clock here tonight, ESPN, ABC. And, of course, the Detroit Lions at number 2 and the Houston Texans, hometown Houston Texans. Not that I root for them anymore, but we'll see if they can turn around their franchise after a few putrid years that they've had there. Again, check him out, KrisBarclay.com, and then More Than Whiskey is the current single across all the platforms, man. Great song. Love the fact that you can definitely just appreciate where people come from, too. How did that one come about as far as the writing and the backstory of that one?
I wrote that one with a good old buddy of mine, James Barker from the James Barker Band. He's from 20 minutes, half hour from where I'm from. And we were talking one day about how, when you grow up and you come up and a lot of groups of friends, there's always like 4 or 5 dudes that make up a group of friends, right? There's like the party guy, there's the responsible guy, there's the overly proud guy, there's, you know what I mean? There's the career focused guy, and that makes up the group of, and no matter where you go. And it seems to be too, when we play all these, going around playing the small town fairs and the festivals and all that, as you're coming up, you get to, a certain place and they say have their own type of beer that they make right there. And they got to make sure that you have a 6-pack of that beer. You got to try it, or you go to a certain spot and there's like a certain steakhouse and they're like, hey man, you got to come, you're going to eat dinner at this place because this is our spot, man. And they're real proud to show you. So it's kind of like all these things about being right here. And I can remember trying to, like in that first verse where I'm talking about sneaking into a bar, I can remember the first time using my fake ID, not that I condone that kind of behavior, but I remember doing all that stuff. And it was, you're proud of it. And you're driving down the highway, you see that old bar that you used to try and sneak in. You're kind of like, hey man, this is, and so it's all about just being proud of where you come from. That's all.
What makes it a great song, no doubt about it too. Hey, tell me about this, because I always love artists, because I know people give back so much to their community and so many things that raise awareness, things that are near and dear to their heart. For you, it's raising awareness and funds for the mental health, people that go through PTSD, veteran first responder community. I know you've done some things with Wounded Warriors, how important it is to give back, and pretty cool that you guys did. I believe it was like right around $4,000 in 2020. So congratulations on that endeavor, and something near and dear to you that you're able to work on and give back to those type of the people that do suffer from that.
Yeah, I growing up with my grandfather, he had an over 20-year military career, Armored Corps, and he was always very proud about that. You went to his house, he probably had a sweater like this one, but it said Army right across it. And, he wore that all the time. He had framed pictures of him and his, his platoons and stuff, overseas doing what they do. And he was always very proud of that. It made me very proud of that. And I grew up with that. He's my best buddy. And then, for a while there, it seemed that might be a viable career option for me, but sports and music steered my life otherwise. So this is kind of like my way of kind of serving without serving, so to speak. I'm not able to be over there, with the men and women as they go do their thing to have their back. So when they come home, this is my way of having their back when they come home. If they need help, I'm trying to use my platform to try and reach out and kind of just not a lot of people are aware of how intense, these things are. And I want to try and bring awareness to this whole thing and also wherever possible funds and try and help Wounded Warriors, especially Wounded Warriors Canada. I haven't had too much experience on the state side with Wounded Warriors, but Wounded Warriors Canada does a great job. They have their own programs geared towards that. Also, not only the individuals themselves, but their families. So that spouse that doesn't know never was trained on how to handle a PTSD situation or an operational stress injury. There's programs for the spouse and also the kids too, who are often overlooked. So it's just a really great positive atmosphere, really great people. And so we did an event right in the middle of the whole pandemic. So we did are you familiar with what a ruck march is? Do they call it the same thing in the States?
I'm not familiar. Kind of enlighten me on that a little bit.
I'm not sure. They may call it something different, but basically you put a real heavy backpack on.
Okay.
And you go for a march through the woods.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, it's a ruck would be kind of what you'd have like your essentials on going on some kind of mission or patrol.
Okay. Gotcha.
It can weigh up to 120 pounds.
Wow.
Depending on what you're doing, where you may be going. And so we capped ours off at 50 pounds. So I had 50 pounds on my back, and we did a 10K hike through a wooded area. And people showed up. Veterans were there. We had first responders, firefighters, people showing up. Firefighters were wearing their oxygen tanks on their back. It was cool, man. It was really cool to see people rally around. And I was really proud of it. We ended up coming out with $4,000 for just going directly to the programs and to helping veterans and first responders. So really near and dear to my heart, and hats off and thank you to all those men and women who have volunteered to serve both on the Canadian and the American side of the border. Hats off to you. Have all the respect in the world.
Man, I tell you what, I could tip this cap right now to pull off the headphones, but I tip the cap to our military and say, you know what? Awesome, man. We couldn't do what we do here without those brave men and women out there too. So commend you for everything you've done out there to work for people that do struggle, spouses that struggle with PTSD. And my friend, thank you for just everything you're able to do to give back to those who definitely are less fortunate. And I love that from an artist standpoint too, at the same time, through your music and through your personality and the type of great human being that you are out there. No doubt about it. Again, More Than Whiskey across all the platforms. Make sure you guys check it out. And if you missed today's live version, we'll have it up tomorrow morning at the sportsguyspodcast.com, along with a little draft banter out there. Who won the first round? Of course, was it the Texans or was it somebody else? That kind of thing. Cowboys. I'm a Cardinal fan, so definitely more of that. Pick 23. Yeah, you know I'm diehard when I know exactly what pick they have out there. Pick 23 for Arizona, 24 for Dallas in the first round. And of course, Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. I'm like, that kind of thing. They get pick number 32 of that first round. So, hey, we're going to get into rapid fire here. So, speaking of that, huge Jays fan. You mentioned that at the top of the show here. Football team. I love the CFL because one of the things I got to do when I was up there back in 2017 with a friend of mine was go to what was then the Edmonton Eskimos at Commonwealth. Now they're the Edmonton Elks, which in the CFL. I've taken it. That was pretty amazing taking in a CFL game in person, sitting on the 50-yard line. There's nothing like it. And I've been to some NFL games. CFL just had a lot more action. Of course, it's a shorter field, more high scoring, the 3-down rule. Tell me about CFL team you root for, and does that go into the States for an NFL team?
Yeah, so I just was kind of a Toronto kid. I'm from outside of Toronto, so you could probably bet if there's a Toronto team, that's the one I'm cheering for. It's that hometown thing, man. We already talked about it. So I the Argos were always real good.
Argos,
yeah. So they've been real good for a lot of years, and so we always would go to if we were going to go to a game, we'd just go to an Argos game. I know the Hamilton Ticats are a big team as well. So they were always fun to watch. The games, like you're saying, there's a lot of contact, a lot of in tight stuff, a lot of run plays. It's fun. It's technical. It's fun. It's fun to watch for sure. NFL. One of my best buddies is maybe one of the biggest football fans I know ever, and that's since we've gone back to being a little kid. He was always a New England fan, he was just always that way. So when I went over to watch games, it had to be the New England game. I didn't have a team as a kid, so I just watched New England with him. I became a Brady fan through doing that. So I just, you know what I mean? I just, it's one of those things where no matter what the sport is, if you're seeing something great happen, that's not going to happen
Oh yeah.
Roughly again. Like it's going to take something real special for it to happen again. It's like, let's make that record as crazy as it can get. So I'm pulling for Brady just to see, how far he can stretch this thing and how high he can set that bar. It's something real special. Like in hockey, as an example, Tampa Bay could win their third consecutive Stanley Cup in a row, as well as Pat Maroon, who plays on Tampa Bay, could win his fourth in a row because he had won one with St. Louis prior to getting traded. So now the Leafs are about to play them in the first round, right? So
yeah.
So I'm at a big crossroads, but if it wasn't for the Leafs, I'd want to see Tampa go just to kind of keep that dynasty kind of going. I think that's really cool. I did cheer for I had LA in the Super Bowl last year, so I'm a bandwagon jumper in the
It's
NFL.
all good. It's all good, man. Like I said, I tell people my second favorite team's the Dodgers minus the Astros. I root for their number one's the Cardinals. I guess number two for me and my household's got to be the Dallas Cowboys, and that's what we see after the year they had last year. Dak Prescott, huge fan of him, so I'm okay. I tell people, bandwagon fans or diehards or people that have their teams that grow up in their communities or whatever it is, just as long as you're faithful to it, or if you're a fan is a fan. Like anybody's going to go.
I just like watching the sports, to be honest. I just love watching good games and high intensity games. I love to watch. So I don't pretend. I'll tell you what. I don't pretend to be a fan of a team that I can't name you at least half the roster. So I just like watching. When it comes down to that, I like watching good games. But I did follow New England for a long time just because of my buddy, and then now I kind of just like watching just the games that I don't necessarily have an NFL team particularly, but. I just love watching the games.
There's nothing wrong with that, brother. Like I said, in this day and age, or at least in the rest of my lifetime, nobody will ever have 6 Super Bowl championships in one particular NFL city, or adding one for 7. He should have probably had 8 when it came down to it. But New York Giants and David Tyree had something to do with that years back too. At the same time,
that was a tough watch.
The helmet. That was a tough
watch.
To see that happen. It would have been 8 Super Bowls there for him.
Yeah.
But I mean, my God, 7 out of 11, you'll never see that happen again for any city, for any NFL franchise, for any one quarterback to do what Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw did for their franchises, respective franchises back in the day. You'll never see another quarterback like a Tom Brady, despite what people say, and they have their opinions. I still think greatest quarterback of all time, hands down, is Tom Brady for what he was able to bring to the table, both as a person, as an athlete, as a father, and just everything he symbolized from a sports figure. He lived up to it, no doubt. Let me ask you about this. Favorite Kris Barclay food to cook or to get for takeout? And what's your favorite beverage? What are you kind of into right now?
Oh, wow. I think if I'm cooking, I love barbecue. I love grilling. So particularly right now, I've been working on perfecting my steak grilling.
Okay.
So so that's where I'm at. However, my girlfriend makes an amazing seafood. So we kind of get that surf and turf going. We really enjoy that right now. So we're kind of down that aisle. But for drinks, depends on the night of the week, my man. It depends on the night of the week, right? If I'm watching football on a Sunday, it's probably Coors Lights.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that, brother.
But when it goes with the steak and the surf and turf, I'm a red wine guy.
All right, I like that.
But you're not gonna shy away from a glass of whiskey as well. So.
No, and we need more than whiskey now, which is a current single out there too. But I tell you, man, it's good, and whatever sets the mood, whatever the occasion is, that's the big thing out there. All right, I love this one too. We do this from time to time for rapid fire. So Kris Barclay woke up in the morning. He wins the Powerball. What's the first thing he does with the money?
To be quite honest, I'd probably retire my parents. That's probably the first thing I would do.
That's awesome.
I would set them up. I realize now that I coach. I train athletes now. I'm a skills coach for hockey when I'm not playing music, and so I realize how expensive that is. And they poured money into my sister and I growing up playing sports. So the first thing I would do is take care of them the same way they took care of me. And that's probably by far the first thing I'd probably do.
I love it, man. All right, favorite car that you either have owned or test drove, or one of those dream cars you'd like to say, man, I'd like to get that off the lot one day. Or maybe you sat in it with somebody else driving it. Maybe it was a special occasion.
Right. Favorite that I've owned, it was a cool experience for me. I've always wanted one, and I had a Wrangler. I took the doors off. I used to take the doors off and ride around with no doors. That was the coolest. That was the coolest thing, man. When I was young, I loved it, man. That was the best. That I'd want to own. It'd probably be some like an older type of like maybe some kind of a like an old Cobra, maybe.
Oh,
like an old, you know what I mean? Like something real old, like, you know, but done up nice, you know, and there'd be something like that. Maybe a Cobra, maybe a Charger. I don't know, something down that line. That old muscle.
Yeah, I've got one for me, and you're gonna love this too. This probably leads to my next thing. I just want the Batmobile. That's all I want.
Oh, I didn't even consider that. I watched the new one last night. I didn't even consider that.
Yeah,
that's like an old vet or something.
Yeah, just give me that Batmobile, and I'm good, man. And the new one was good. I was going to ask you about Marvel, DC. I know you're into probably a lot of that, just like everybody else, right?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I grew up with Batman, Spider-Man. Those were my guys. Those were my two top growing up. So I live in that world, I suppose. But yeah, the way they're doing some of these movies now, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. The technology is wild.
I'll say this: I had to go back and rewatch it because the first time I saw it, the new Batman, HBO Max, which is out there right now, it took a while to get going, but once it got going,
oh yeah, man.
From the
beginning,
beginning,
watched it twice. That's 6 hours, dude. Holy.
Well, it took separate days, but not consecutive days. Because that first time I was so tired, man. In the beginning, I think I lasted like 15 minutes, and I kept asking myself, "Where's this going? Where's this going?" Yeah. I stuck with it, and then I finished it a couple of days. But I mean, of course, then I woke up and finished about one way all the way through, and the first time was about 45 minutes in. Then I picked certain pieces of it apart to where I could keep myself awake to do it. I'll say, old boy played a hell of a Batman. I forgot the actual name, but
did a good job, man. He did a good job. He ain't in Twilight anymore, man.
No, he ain't. No,
yeah,
he damn sure ain't in Harry Potter either.
yeah, for sure.
Long way from Cedric Diggory, no doubt about that too. But the boy can definitely get out there, and is a hell of an actor too as well. Robert
Pattinson.
Pattinson. There you go. I knew the name was going to come to me. Well, I tell you what, man, KB, man, this has been a hell of a time, brother. We've got to do this again. More Than Whiskey is the current single across all the platforms, so make sure you guys go check that out and get that. You can download it. Check out KrisBarclay.com. My friend, hope you enjoyed the visit. Hope we can do it again. And yeah, definitely, my friend. Continued success going forward. A lot early on in your career. And, man, more to come, brother. No doubt.
Thanks for having me, man. I can't wait to come back. There's so much more I got to tell you.
Yeah, definitely another show we're gonna do, and definitely
there's a sequel here for sure.
There's a sequel. I know there's more in the bag too coming up for the next single release. I'm sure there's an album somewhere down in the can out there, man, too. So a lot of cool things happening in the KB camp out there, Warner Music Canada, and of course our good friends out there too. Thank you, Laura, for setting everything up, and of course just everybody that makes these shows possible. MitchMacs.com and our good friends at Hank Jr. Productions. We're gonna track her down. Megan Patrick, we're going to get you, and definitely
I'll help you out. I'm going to send you a message tonight. I'll hook it
up. Tomorrow, Maddie Poppy on the show, and of course, over the next few weeks, some more great shows here on the Backstage Pass. Again, thanks to MitchMacs.com and our good friends at HankJrProductions.com. Go check out our sponsors. Check out Kris Barclay and the new single, More Than Whiskey, across all the digital platforms. Until tomorrow at 4, we say good night and happy NFL draft. May your team improve in the best way possible. We'll see you soon.